UK Open winner. He's beaten the brash young Aussie Corey Cadby 11-7 here in Minehead. No doubt Corey will be back in years to come. For goodness sake, this young lad has only just turned pro in the last few weeks. He said it's been quite a start to 2018. We've only had 2 months of it, and he has already got himself £35,000 by reaching a final. And he's moved up to number 53 in the world. That is not bad going for a few weeks. But tonight is Gary Anderson's night, the Flying Scotsman. He won't have too far to go. He only lives just up the coast, about an hour or so away. But he's going to enjoy these last few moments here tonight. It's not quite the atmosphere that he's used to when he last won a trophy a couple of years ago. But he deserves his victory nonetheless, winning those last 3 legs in confident style.
Yeah, he bounced back from being 4-1 down early on and responded like the champion he is and produced the darts we know he's capable of. When he does lose, it's usually down to an odd double miss there. And me and Alan have spoke about it so many times. Sport, not just darts, most sports is all about timing. And some of the timing of those finishes, you know, the ones that spring to mind, the 68s, the 108, you know, they hurt your opponent as well as giving you another chalk on the board.
So much of it is about mentality as well. And Gary said in his interview there that he doesn't mind if he loses, he just goes home. But actually, can that help you sometimes if you know it's not the end of the world? You don't have to win a match to be able to feed your kids, for example, like some players do?
It's all down to the player's character. Everybody's individual. Gary's, as we know, the old school character is always, mentioning, and everybody's different. There's so many different characters now in our sport. Gary's just one of the older ones. And I quite kind of believe what he says. He is that kind of character. He just gets on with it. If he loses, he goes home. If he wins, he's happy. And as he said, takes the paper with him. He needs a cheque, obviously.
Well, the beauty is you get knocked out in one, there's one the next week. You know, it's Premier Leagues every Thursday, and then obviously you go into the big tournament calendar, and there is something every week. So you can't be too despondent. You know, you can't dwell on what's happened. You just move on and get on with it and get on to the next tournament and try and win that. But that certainly won't be the last time we'll see Corey Cadby in a final.
There are a lot of players in darts now. There's a lot of money in darts now, isn't there? I mean, £35,000 for winning a few matches.
We're not bitter,
here.
are we?
No, not a bit. Well, it's a £12 million circuit now also with the PDC. You know, the World Championship's gone up incredibly as well. So the other tournaments, so many tournaments. We've got the Pro Tour, we've got 22 Players Championships, 13 European Tours, the 6 Open qualifiers we mentioned, all the TV events, the World Series. There's almost one every day.
Yeah, when back in our day, if you didn't do well in one, you had to wait 3, 4, sometimes 5 months to get another opportunity. So yeah, it's a great time to be a professional dart player.
There's also a lot more competition now. There's so many good players. I know we've mentioned it a lot of times, but David Pallett didn't manage to win a tour card, and yet he got through to the semi-final here today. There are just so many good players out there now.
Yes, and there's going to be a lot more emerging as well. You know, we've got the JDC with players up to 18 years old. So many players coming through there. We've got the development tour. I watched that, and the standard there is absolutely just monster.
And the next level down, the Challenge Tours. I mean, they're posting 100 averages in that.
That's why we're seeing a lot more players coming through that maybe the general public haven't heard of, but they're playing wonderful darts.
It's what makes this event, why we love this event so much, because, you know, look at the Riley's qualifiers, look at the run Paul Hogan had.
Again.
You know, again. You know, it's great for our sport that we have in a tournament of this size, so we can get to see, you know, maybe the next generation, like we have done with Corey Cadby.
It's a nice combination, isn't it? Because you get young players coming through, but then you get some veterans as well who can have a run. John Part, for goodness sake.
Yeah, 18-year-old Nathan Rafferty. What a future that young man has.
Yeah, 18-year-old from Coal Island in Northern Ireland, and it seems a long time ago now that he beat Peter Wright in the opening round here, wasn't it? I mean, apart from him, who else, excuse me, would you pick out as being a rising star that perhaps we haven't seen on the main stage yet?
Well, there's so many on the certainly development tour. I mean, Luke Humphries won the development tour last year. He played in the World Championships for the first time. He played in this tournament. You know, he's got a bright future. I mean, he won that development tour in front of Dimitri van den Berg, and you know how well Dimitri played over the last 6 or 8 months. There's so many good players coming through. It's all how they adapt to being a professional when they have to be put up against the challenges such as Corey's done tonight, and in all the Players' Championship events during the season.
Very much with Robert Owen. He's another one. He's an emerging talent. You know, the difference in the games, how he approached the match against John Part and how he approached the match against Corey Cadby, that's what they have to learn. And you have to go through it to understand it. You can't sort of sit them down and go, right, this is what you've got to do. Same as Corey, how he's feeling right now, he's gutted. So you've got to keep that feeling of, right, I want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Oh, goodness, he's just so early in his career, isn't he? He's got
baby.
so many big matches still to come. Well, this has been a tournament of shocks, as we've said so many times. But there's no bigger surprise than the world #1, Michael van Gerwen, losing to Jeffrey de Zwaan, a 21-year-old from the Netherlands, on Friday evening. Well, here's a reminder of a very rare defeat for MVG. We'll join the action at 6-all.
Stu, 15 darts, not one dart at a double.
I know.
100.
6-all. Lewis gone, Barney gone. Peter Wright scrapping away. Chisnall, another big name. Ryan Meikle beating Dave Chisnall earlier. Is it going to be a big night of big names departing the UK Open? Well, here comes de Zwaan again.
140.
Ian White, 5-1 up on Whitlock. Another potential shock.
140.
Rafferty on the verge.
65.
Yeah, good switch from Van Gerwen. Just thinking about it, he'll stay down, I'm sure.
93.
The treble 16.
156.
And another. And another. Double 18. Oh, he kissed the top wire. Kissed the wire.
52.
Double 12 for Van Gerwen. This for a holder throw.
66.
What an opportunity.
36.
3 darts in hand, double 18 to go 7-6 up, and within 3, a massive,
On the
massive
13th
upset.
leg, Jeffrey de Zwaan.
Wow.
14th leg, it's Jeffrey to throw first.
Talking of upsets,
Yep, de Zwaan leads here 7-6, but a huge upset over on board 5, because we can confirm that the defending UK Open champion Peter Wright is out. He has lost 10-9 to the young Irishman Nathan Rafferty. A stunning performance and a stunning upset. Wright led 9-8. Rafferty won the last 2 legs. Peter Wright is out. Let's just see what else is going on around the boards. Michael van Gerwen in trouble against
Another
Jeffrey de
upset there,
Zwaan.
Evans
Ricky
against
Evans
Humphries.
2 away. West in control,
41.
confirming Rafferty has beaten Wright. White 6-1 up against Whitlock. Gerwin Price against Alex Roy, and Johnny Clayton has beaten Michael Barnard. Lewis,
59.
Wright, Chisnall, Van Barneveld, all beaten. What can Michael van Gerwen do here against Jeffrey de Zwaan?
136.
Lot more of that.
De Zwaan has broken Van Gerwen on 3 occasions.
140. Jeff Uruguay, 107.
Tops to go 8-6 up.
87.
And will he come back? Michael van Gerwen, the master of the 170.
not this time.
No.
105.
To go 8-6 up.
20.
Big stories developing all round the UK
On the
Open.
14th leg,
And here
Jeffrey
Jeffrey de Zwaan now is
If
2
it's Michael
legs
goes
away
first, game on.
from beating Michael van Gerwen. Well, it is a dramatic night here. The darts
just
are red
outside.
hot. Yeah, it might be a
60.
scene of white outside, the heavy snow, the freezing temperatures, but here the action
140.
is red hot. Sounds simple. for Deswan.
100.
Whole throw twice, and
Yep.
you beat Michael Van Gerwen in a TV major. It sounds simple. I can assure you it isn't.
91.
Is that 170 again?
Michael Irigoyen.
Gotta see here now
170.
Deswan can hold his nerve.
Next leg's key, isn't it? This is
Yep.
his first one with throw to hold. On many occasions, it's what Michael does. It's almost taken out of your own hands if he produces a 12-dart leg.
$140. Michael Irigoyen, 74.
Well, much needed for Michael Van Gerwen. But now this is the big leg. It really is.
Game on.
Oh, Deswan! Pressure, what pressure as he fires in a 6th 180.
136.
Oh,
135.
5 perfect darts, nearly a 6th. And Michael Van Gerwen, 2 times UK Open champion.
140.
In his first match, the world #1, the #1 seed against the 21-year-old Dutch compatriot Jeffrey Deswan.
95.
We've seen Van Gerwen win the last 3 or 4 legs of matches
Jeffrey Irigoyen, 91.
many times in the past. Is he going to have to do it again? Well, 129.
43. Michael Irigoyen, 129.
Oh, he's hit the treble 3. So now, oh, and he went for
69.
tops.
Jeffrey
He's
Irigoyen,
thrown it out to the
48.
board. Was that a panic from Van Gerwen?
Lack of focus.
He's gone. 8 for tops now, double 10, and he's got
on the 60
another
leg,
leg, and he
triple
leads
top.
9-7.
Dean Darter.
Game on.
Michael Van Gerwen is a leg away from being
Whoa.
beaten and falling at the first hurdle. What a story this is. On a night of stories. Peter Wright, the defending champion, is out. Here comes Deswan.
140.
An 8th 140, 6 180s. Adrian Lewis is out. Raymond van Barnevel's out.
60.
Dave Chisnall's gone. But Peter Wright, the defending champion, beaten by virtual unknown Nathan Rafferty. And here, Michael Van Gerwen
82.
is scrapping for his survival in this year's UK Open.
137.
Oh, what drama here in Minehead. It's been a long, long day.
59.
The tournament getting the go-ahead at the last minute, and some players not being able to make it. All the big names have made it. And Van Gerwen under pressure is producing some great darts in this leg. But even if he wins it, Deswan will throw for the match.
100. Michael Irigoyen, 70.
Tops he needs to stay in it.
30.
And Jeffrey
120 to
Deswan
win it.
now
120.
has a
Right.
chance to beat Michael Van Gerwen. Yes, 20. Tops for Deswan.
80.
Just over the wire.
40.
Well, well, well. Michael Van
John, the
Gerwen
70
survives
leg.
just.
18 leg is Jeffrey to throw first. Game on.
Well, that was for a 10-7 victory. Missed tops Jeffrey Deswan. Now, can he hold his nerve and throw for the match? You bet he can. 140.
140.
Looks so good on throw the whole match.
Well, he's held it all together as well, hasn't he? And it's Michael Van Gerwen who's been under pressure.
41.
And there we have it. Says it all. 41 scored. Is it the end of Michael van Gerwen?
Looks like it is.
What a performance! 140, 140 when you're throwing for the biggest win of your life.
140.
Still, best part of us. Come on, 99 in front, plus these. It's a treble.
100.
Ton 40 ton. Putting together a fabulous leg. He needed a 180, didn't he?
123.
6 starts on 1-2-1 for Jeffrey Deswan. Huge victory.
Treble 20. We'll just leave it.
65.
Handy. Don't panic.
Great thinking that was.
Don't
Great
panic
board
now.
management.
So here we go.
96.
Jeffrey Deswan
56.
to beat Michael van Gerwen at the UK Open Finals. He needs tops. And Van Gerwen is gone! Michael van Gerwen is out of the UK Open Finals in a stunning upset. It was a stunning performance from Jeffrey Deswan. What a night this is turning out to be in Minehead. Peter Wright out, Adrian Lewis out, Raymond van Barneveld out, Dave Chisnall out, and Michael van Gerwen out. Deswan wins 10-8. Wow.
He didn't quite have the crowd there to milk the scenes, did he? But it's so unusual for us to be standing here at the end of a show. Very, very unusual on a Sunday night. Not to be saying the same things about the same player. So let's not talk about MVG on this occasion. Let's talk about Gary Anderson a little bit more, because it is over 2 years since he won his last major. He's been in 5 finals since, lost 4 of them to MVG, 1 to Mensur Suljovic. Where do you think he is in his career? 47, he always sounds a little bit hangdog about his future. Oh, I'm too old for this game.
Yeah, he says it a lot, doesn't he? He has been one of our prime elite players for a good 5, 6, maybe 7 years now, and he still can go on and win tournaments. I'm sure it's all down to his self-belief and whether he kind of wants to win it. I know that sounds a strange thing to say, but he sometimes comes across with that persona. Do I really want to win this event? Do I want to go home and have a lie down? He's that kind of character, isn't he?
Isn't he?
But,
He won 5 World Series in that. I know they're not sort of major ranking events, but so he has been playing in elite company and winning trophies. Just in the TV events, it's not quite worked out for him, and that's more down to how good a standard where the sport is right now. It's tough to win anything, as we've seen. Defending champion out. MVG went out, so that just shows you how tough it is.
I want to know what was said, by the way, between Corey Cadby and Gary Anderson just a few minutes ago on the stage. Talking a little bit quiet now, hasn't it? Even quieter. But do you see him going on to win more major trophies, Gary? See him carry on till he's 50 and beyond?
There's no reason why not, because he's still playing at the highest level, and that's the important thing. You know, he's still in the Premier League, still loves playing in front of the big crowds, he says. But he can win what he wants, really. He's still a prime player. Obviously, Michael van Gerwen's still the world #1, but he's still there and thereabouts, and he's always been touted as the player that can push Michael.
Yeah, tournament average of 98, 26 180s in the tournament. Looked relatively comfortable in each match. So yeah, but I think he says that because it just sort of takes the pressure off him a little bit. I mean, effectively, I suppose he could retire. He's so popular on the exhibition circuit. He's, when he does have a bit of time off, he's in such demand. He's, up and down the country doing shows. So I just think it takes the pressure off him. He likes winning.
Well, this time last year, Peter Wright won it, of course, with Michael van Gerwen out injured, but then it was Michael who went on to dominate the year, winning trophy after trophy. Do you see him doing that again this year? Do you see the trophies being shared around? How do you see it?
I think they were shared around a little bit, but Michael will dominate because he is the world #1. But when you look at Michael last year, he dominated last year, but didn't win any of the 3 perceived big majors in the Grand Prix, the match play and the World Championships. But he won most of the other events. So I'm sure they want to tidy that little thing up.
OK, well, thank you very much for your company. Nobody else bothered, but thanks for yours. Now, our next live darts here on ITV is in May. We'll have the World Series of Darts. That kicks off in style with the German Masters. Wow, that is going to be quite something. A one-day event with a record 16,000 crowd expected in Schalke's football stadium. That's the Veltins Arena, with live bands to play the walk-on songs for the players. So that should be really quite special. Well, this UK Open's been full of shocks, but it's finished with a top quality player returning to winning ways. We will see you in May. Bye for now.
Jackie. Now, if you thought that Chris Mason was just beautifully gelled hair and loud shirts, you'd be mistaken, because behind this exterior there is a computer-like brain whirring with statistics.
Wow.
Joking apart, Mace, part of your analysis of the game is based on numbers, isn't it? It's the thing you're interested in.
Yeah, I think it gives us it's great for research, and it gives us a great insight into how a player's form coming into an event, how they perform during the event, how they perform against different types of players, and how they respond to pressure situations. And fortunately, we've got technology to help us now.
Well, listen, we'll come to that in a second, because that's really interesting stuff. But tell me the difference between, like, for example, what is the difference between a 100 average and a 90 average?
Well, effectively, if you're averaging over 100, you're completing the legs in 5 visits or fewer, which is why we often see a 90 average can compete with a 99, because you're having 16, 17 or 18 darts. So it's the same amount of visits to the board. Where if someone's averaging, mid-90s, they'll get beat quite comfortably by someone averaging 105, because they're only going to be getting shots at 101, 121. We often say it in commentary, they're always a throw behind.
Yeah, no, it's interesting stuff. Now, you may, if you follow the dart scene closely, you may be aware that this year has essentially seen a new innovation. It's live data coming off the multi-board tournaments, so the Pro Tour events, and we've also seen here in the multi-board room earlier on in the UK Open these little gizmos being used by the markers, by the chalkers. Now, it looks simple enough, but it offers a whole wealth of data, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It does away with the opportunity for there to be mistakes. There can't be any mistakes using this system. No more chalkboards, no more wiping the boards. Every dart that's thrown is recorded. I put in sort of 26. That would probably be sort of my standard. But yeah, and then that all goes back into the cloud. And users, whether you tablet, phone, computer at home, you can literally follow it throw for throw.
So it ends up like creating data like this, which looks kind of a bit baffling. It's a big old spreadsheet of information, but drill down into it.
Everybody that's played in this event, all the information is within this Dart Connect app. So we can even look at, say, Rob Cross, tournament average of 99 out. First down dart average, 109.6. All of his finishing stats, all of his stats in terms of how many 180s per leg. So people who are genuinely interested into the numbers side of the game, this is, this is life-saving for me.
So, for example, Corey Cadby here, and if we just press on this number, he's played 5 matches so far in the UK Open to get to the final. I think we're going to find that information. There we go. So that's plotted his graph through.
So plotted his graph. So who he played against, the opponent's average, and as you can see, he's steadily got better and better and better and better. And so much so in that last match, his highest average of the tournament, 99.9. And we can just track every bit of information. We can get his tournament average up there, Gary Anderson's tournament average, and the graph there from Gary Anderson himself. But every player that's played, competed, you can go back to all the UK Open qualifiers. Every dart they've thrown in that every match they played, all the information is in there.
And I know, Chris, that there is a little bit of a debate in the darts world between players, if you like, of your generation and the current generation. The averages have gone up.
Oh, absolutely.
When are we going to hit the ceiling? In 10 years' time, are we going to be talking regularly about players getting 115, who knows, 120 averages? Yeah,
well, dartboards, the difference in target area is about 12%. So even back in the day, people like Bristow, Deller, Lowe, they were hitting 100 averages. So if you sort of put just 10% on that, they'd be averaging 110. But back then, the sort of cut-off mark, was around 90. Anything over 90 was deemed exceptional. Now it's 100. But darts is the only sport in the world where it's actually being made easier for the players. You think about snooker, they make the pockets tighter. Dartboards are bigger, some 12%. And it's a double-edged sword, because the crowd want to see the 180s and the big finishes. So, if you make it smaller, will the game be as attractive? I'd like to see it be, 12% smaller than what we played on.
Same old, same old. It was harder in our day.
It was. Tougher school.
I think Bill Shankly once said of football, it's a simple game, and so too is darts, but I hope we've just made it a little bit more complicated.
We understood every